Welcome to J.R. Hendrick Texan Night, a podcast that deals with the early life of yours truly. And now, the podcast, Heavy Places. 4 a.m. Eastern. Jim is sitting in the downstairs main lounge of the mansion, reading Peace with God by Billy Graham. He is feeling especially repentant this morning. Claude had called last night to apologize for ignoring him because he had to make some phone calls about a rig breakdown in Galveston. Today he planned on taking the day off early by having lunch with Andrew and Margaret House, an early lunch. 5 a.m. JR is working out in the Sibley, swimming with Dave Smith and Charlie Nation. Look, I could have told you that Brad could have done this again, Charlie said. Oh, it's nothing, JR said. He used to badmouth me like this a couple of years ago at Odessa College, and I just let it pass by. Seriously, JR, you're better than this, Dave Smith said. You don't need to be focusing on Brad. What's cool is that Coach is allowing your Uncle Carl to go with us to the Iowa State Invitational. That's something for you to think about. Seriously, man, Charlie said. Brad is a major draining a-hole. The best thing you can do is just tell him goodbye. "7 a.m. JR is having breakfast at the, and it's 6:30 a.m. JR is having breakfast at the Crockett House because the Spirit Club was full. He was having donuts and blueberry muffins with David Smith. Think about it, man. A new weekend. You, us, your Uncle Carl, the Iowa State Invitational. Forget Brad. You know, we're going to give those Cardinals a swim for their money, JR said. That's the spirit, man. Think about it. 8 a.m. JR goes to, meanwhile, an hour ahead, Jim arrives at his office in Washington, D.C. He gives some email assignments to his staff, 2 backgrounders, and 6 fact sheets to be done by 4 p.m. in the business. "8 p.m. Central. JR goes to the library to work on an extemporaneous speech he has that day. He emails Dr. Pilsner about a potential reading assignment for the weekend. "12:30 p.m. Eastern. The lunch with Andrew House was unexpectedly canceled as he had a new arrangement. And arriving home for lunch, Jim had a fight with Betsy. So he sat there having lunch, a hamburger lunch, in his home office in the mansion, listening to Andrew House. His plans of taking the day off looked like they were getting curtailed. 12 p.m. Central. JR and Carl and Uncle Carl and Aunt Darna stopped off in their 1992 VW bus to get some Taco Bell. They sat by a park and talked in the car. Well, JR, you need to get over Brad. It's a new weekend, new event. I don't know, JR said. I'm beyond Brad. Just look, your dad don't think it's a good idea for you to hang out with Brad all that much. You know, Dad's if I'm wanting to lecture me about who I hang out with, JR said. Look, what your dad did last weekend was despicable, Aunt Donna said. But it's a new weekend. A swim meet. Now, surely there is someone you can hang out with instead of just sitting there hanging out all depressed in the dorm? Actually, there is someone. Dave Smith. Grandma said asked me to invite him to dinner at the condo tonight. White House cheeseburgers. Uh, 5 p.m. 4 p.m. Eastern. Jim is sitting in the southeast lounge of the mansion, feeling horrible. He thinks about some of the stuff he said yesterday, and the argument with his wife Betsy. He was now planning to take a trip home for a few weeks in May, going back to West Texas to see family and friends. $5 p.m. 8 p.m. JR had earlier had White House cheeseburgers with Grandma Elizabeth and Dave Smith. Now with the Blake Carter show being over, his grandmother turns on the TV hopefully to watch 2020. When it becomes about the crisis in Rwanda, she switches off the TV and turns on an old Jim Reeves record. Hope you enjoy the J.R. Hendrick Texan Consort. If you like what you hear, please subscribe. Become a part of the adventure. It's J.R. Hendrick saying until next time, get ready for the rest of the story. Now, God bless you. Take care now, here.